What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing a bit of a Q&A, and also, while there's dead space, I thought we'd do some tier listing, because who doesn't love a good tier list? So I have here a tier list for a whole bunch of programming languages, and I thought we'd go ahead and rank those. So, you guys can be sure to let me know what you think in the chat, and I'll take that into account. First up here, we have Swift. So if you don't know, Swift is Apple's programming language that they, I think a couple years back, they really pushed this and were trying to, they made an iPhone and iPad app for it, and we're really trying to get people to use it instead of C++ or whatever people usually make apps in. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of mid. They went for like a higher level language, more like Python or something, but I guess mostly just didn't catch on. So I'm going to put it in C tier. I think that's a fair place for it. I would say an S tier language is one that's really easy to get into and has a lot of applications. A tier is like good and has, maybe a few different applications. B tier, if there's maybe like one application for it, and C tier if it's just, kind of not a great language. And obviously F tier is for the worst of the worst. Bash scripting. So bash scripting is if you open up your terminal and you start scripting in that, and I'm not gonna lie, it's tough to do. And it's kind of not that useful. It's useful for like a quick couple of lines of code if you gotta get something done really quick, but I think all in all, it's really not great, and it's very difficult for beginners to get into. So I think I'm gonna have to F tier it, honestly. CSS. So CSS is just a design language for making your website look pretty or whatever. And honestly, it's pretty good for that. I'm gonna put it B tier because that's really the only place it's used. And it's decent for that. It's decent. C sharp. Now C sharp, I really like C sharp. C sharp is used with Unity if you're developing games over there, and it's just it's kind of like C++, but it's actually super beginner friendly. I think it's gonna have to be the first S tier because it's just it's super easy to get into. You don't have to worry about some of the more difficult constructs like pointers and worrying about that. It handles most of that stuff, and it just has a really nice fluid syntax. So yeah, it's S. It's S. C++, again, kind of similar. Obviously, both derived from C, but it's much harder to use. Although it does give you more granularity. It's kind of second best at a lot of things, not like the best in most areas. So I think I'm gonna have to put it in the A tier. That's nice. We got one in each tier so far. This, I don't know if you guys know this. I didn't until this video, but this is actually the symbol for JSON. So, that's the one with all the brackets and quotes and whatnot. It's just a language for structuring data. And honestly, it's quite good for that, I would say. Like if I was creating a save file for games or something and I just wanted to make sure that the data was easily accessible, readable, modifiable by an actual human, this is actually a great option for that. So I think it deserves an A tier. There's lots of applications for it. HTML. Once again, it's kind of a one-trick pony. It's just used on the web, and it's not great. I think it might be another B tier. Honestly, I might even put it C tier. It just they have been adding some new features, like this is HTML5 obviously, so I like color pickers and stuff like that, but it's still only just used for that one purpose. So I think B tier is probably a fair place to put it. Java is actually pretty similar to C sharp in terms of it's easy to pick up, easy to use. I would say it's a pretty good language, but of course there are a lot of complaints about Java. Partly because it's taught to high schoolers and it's not always taught with best practices in mind. But yeah, it's not quite at the C sharp level. I would say I'd say it's a solid A tier language, honestly. Rust. Now I haven't actually used Rust, so I might have to add another category here for languages that we can't really rank. Because it wouldn't exactly be fair to yeah, to rank these languages when I haven't really used them. So yeah, I'm just gonna create a new can't rank tier, and we're gonna put Rust in that tier. Oh, and next up we have this little YouTube subscribe button. So if you guys aren't subscribed yet, I would definitely recommend subscribing so you can watch more content just like this. And obviously, this is something we gotta rank in the S tier because those of you who have subscribed, definitely S tier. JavaScript. Now, JavaScript is, it's another one that's often used for the web, but it's definitely more versatile. You can use it on other applications as well. And you can get a lot more done with it. I think I'm going to put it A tier. It's somewhere between A tier and B tier, but I feel like it's above CSS and HTML. So I think I have to put it A tier. But if there were a B.5 tier, that's where I'd put it. Lua. So Lua is one of the more obscure languages on this list. It's not used in a whole lot of places. I know it's used for I think some data collection purposes, and it's the programming language you use if you want to make Roblox games, for if anyone's interested in that. So Lua is, yeah, it's not used a whole lot. It's kind of like a lamer version of Python, if I'm being honest. It's definitely a high-level language, but it doesn't get used as much, so it's not as easy to find resources, and for that reason, I think I'm going to have to put it in C or B tier. Maybe B tier is fair. Yeah, so I think, hello, to the chat members that are saying hi. I think B tier is a fair place to put Lua. SQL. SQL is, you know, that language where you like select something from something. It's for dealing with, databases, moving data around in databases and, stuff like that. Honestly, it's pretty solid at what it does, but it does only have really that one purpose, and it's a tiny language. There's not a whole lot to do in it. So I think B is probably a safe place to put it. It honestly could be a C tier. I'm not sure. Go. Go is another one I haven't really used, so I think I'm just gonna have to not rank that one. Put it in the can't rank tier. PHP, I've used this minimally, but it's pretty solid at its job, you know, doing server type commands. It's a little unpopular, I would say. It's more fringe now. People are moving away from it to other languages, so it honestly, it might get C tiered. It's fairly easy to understand the syntax of. It's kind of like a cross between, I don't know, HTML and JavaScript or something like that. But yeah, honestly, people are moving away from it more. It might have to be C tiered. TypeScript, basically just JavaScript with an update. I think A tier as well for that. Yeah, I think that's a fair place to put it. It's not better enough to warrant an S tier. And Ruby, another server-side language. I haven't used this one much either. I think I'm going to have to can't rank that as well. We're getting a few there. Python. Python's an obvious fan favorite for a lot of people. Some people complain that, you know, it's slow to run, it's not as efficient, but that's not really what it's for. What it's for is, hey, I want to create a program right quick to do this, or to teach people programming. And I think for both of those purposes, teaching and just throwing together a really quick program in a more procedural programming way, not object-oriented, I think it's really good for that. Honestly, I think it's S tier at that. So yeah, if you're using it for that kind of stuff, I think it's definitely S tier. MATLAB. Now I haven't used MATLAB much, but it is, well, it takes some heat whenever people use it because it's difficult to use. I think it's gonna have to be C tier. Now it does have to. Java is greater than Python. That's an interesting take. I'm not sure a lot of people are gonna agree with you there. I will say, I personally might prefer Java. I like the syntax of like a C# or a Java. Like I like that kind of syntax. They're all derived from the same kind of, you know, they have a common ancestor, if you will. So I would probably prefer it because I do more object-oriented stuff like Arduino programming with the different stuff there, or like game development programming, and it's definitely better at that. So if you are doing an object-oriented task, then yeah, Java is for sure better there. But Python does have that quick quick creation going for it. And we could S tier Java potentially. I can see that. We can do that. Assembly, the last one on the list. Assembly it's another hard one. It might get C tiered as well. Partially because it's a hard one to use and to learn, and there's not a whole lot of reason to use it at this point in time. Obviously, it's an OG programming language. There was a time when that was what you had to use, but it's not that viable in the current day. So I would C tier. I think a lot of people would F tier it. I don't think I'm going to F tier it. And honestly, Bash doesn't really deserve to be F tiered either. Most of these programming languages are viable programming languages. I think I'm going to pull Bash out. But yeah, assembly it's hard to use, and there's not a whole lot of use cases for it. So I'm going to C tier it. Yeah, and I think, you said you just code with Java more than with Python. Like, that's valid. All of us have a programming language we use more than the others, and that kind of, our skill level with that programming language will obviously influence us. But I like how this turned out pretty even. Sometimes with voting, I just like to make all of the columns have the same amount of votes, or all the different choices have the same amount of votes. It's very satisfying. If I were to put, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put PHP in can't rank just so it would even them out. But I am tempted. Anyway, I think this is our finished tier list here. S tier ones, the ones that made the cut for S tier. We have C#, the subscribe button, Python, and Java. And I would say, those are really the top languages, the cream of the crop. And so that's our tier list for these. If we have any questions in chat, we can take a moment answering those. If not, we'll just, make another tier list or something probably. But yeah, definitely if you have any questions, shout them out. We have, it's more of a chill stream tonight. We got some more time. So if you have a question I don't know the answer to, we can just look into it more. But if no one has any questions, I think we're going to slide over to our Arduino boards tier list. Now, I couldn't come up with as many Arduino boards as I would like. I should even it out. It's too okay, guys. If you're gonna let me do this, I'm gonna do it. Because I honestly haven't written PHP that much. I was like, let's look into server side languages. Found PHP, wrote a few lines in PHP, did some testing. That was it. It was like once, maybe twice. So honestly, I think it's fair to put it in can't rank. So yeah. Now we have a new modified version of the tier list, all evened out, 4 per category. I guess we can just remove the S tier, the F tier, since we didn't end up putting anything there, and it actually just works out perfectly. Yeah, it looks good. I like it. I'm happy with it. Okay, so what we wanted to, back to the Arduino board tier list ranking. This one's probably not going to be as even. I should adjust this bottom one to be an F. We have a few. Yes, it is even better without the F. See, this is what all tier lists should look like. You should just, tune the categories so that you have the same amount in each category if possible, just to make it more satisfying. It's satisfying for the streamer. It's satisfying for the viewer. It's all around just more satisfying. That's our goal. So the Arduino board tier list. First up, we have the Arduino Mega. Now this is the big Chungus board. It's got like 54 ports on it, so you can definitely connect a lot of devices. Honestly, it's a really good board. Lots of program space, lots of ports, lots of everything. It's just a big board. Honestly, this is A or S tier. I'm not sure which it should be. I'm gonna set it in A tier for now. If we don't have enough S tiers, then I'll move it up because that's what we do. But for now, I think A tier is a fair place to put it. The Arduino Micro. The Arduino Micro is, it's a good board. I just use this for the game controller project, which you definitely want to check out if you haven't yet. But it has this nice feature. It's one of the boards that has a nice feature where it can interface with the computer as a human interface device. So basically, on an Arduino board, there's 2 different chips. The one chip is the brain, which does the actual like it figures out the program, it performs the program. And then there's the communication chip, which communicates with the computer. So most Arduino boards have like the regular A-tier communication device, which allows for, you know, serial communication, print this, get this message from the serial monitor, back and forth, that kind of stuff. And of course, power over the USB port or whatever. But the upgraded chip, the S-tier chip that's in the Arduino Micro, allows you to actually send better communication. So you can have it be like a mouse or a joystick or a full game controller or something like that. So for that, I think I'm going to have to put it S tier. It's basically like a souped up Arduino Nano. A couple less ports, I think, but it has that better communication device, which is really cool because you can do some cool communication stuff with that. And I think it's similarly priced, so that's nice as well. We might want to take price into account here as well. I think the Mega is also good bang for buck. We can check on these, but I think the Arduino Mega is good bang for buck compared to like the Uno or something. Oh, okay. I could be wrong. This one is 21 though. I'm basing most of these comparisons probably on the Arduino Uno because that's kind of the basic one, and I'm going to be using Amazon because honestly the clones are, if you find a decent clone then that's not Arduino brand, then you're going to be just fine, and it's way cheaper. So if I can find something on Amazon that looks like a decent clone, then that's what we'll compare it against. Here we go. Elegoo. Elegoo is a good brand. They make Arduino clones, and I've never had any issues with any of theirs. So the Elegoo Uno, $17. For just $4 more, you can get the full 54 ports at the Mega. I would say that's a great deal. Honestly, I think this is S tier. The Arduino Nano, it's decent. All right, it's decent. It's smaller than the Uno board, right? So you can fit basically the same functionality as the Uno in a smaller space. So it's probably A tier, right? Because sometimes you need a smaller board. This is probably the cheapest small board you can get, and yeah, it's pretty small. You can fit it in a lightsaber or something like that, and it's awesome. Then the Arduino Uno. This is the OG. I'm tempted to put it S tier. I honestly am, just because it's so, it's such a classic. But I think to be fair, it should be in the A tier because it's a good board. It's great for beginners. It's the one that everyone's using, so it's easy to find tutorials on and whatnot. But it has the same functionality as the Nano, and it takes up a little bit more space. So should we really put it that much higher? I don't think so. I don't think so. Our next board is this little guy here. This is the Arduino, I believe. Arduino Xiao with 3 E's, and it's basically a mega tiny board. Like it's super tiny. It's really nice for fitting in those small projects. I use this for like a sonic screwdriver project, another cool project you can check out. And it has a similar, like it's got 11 I/O pins, right? So it's not that far behind the Uno or the Nano. They each have 20. But it does only run at 3.3 volts. That's a good thing to note. All of these that we've classified so far, I believe, run at the full 5 volts. So they can, use all the devices because you can use 5 or 3.3. Some devices, like this board here, only run at, obviously you can plug 5 volts into the USB port, but they can only output 3.3 volts. So if you have one of those devices that needs a full 5 volts, you won't be able to run it with this. Like a relay, often the relays need 5 volts to toggle. You won't be able to swing that with this little board. So that's unfortunate, but other than that, it has more program storage and more RAM than even the Arduino Mega, I think. It has a lot of program storage, and it's tiny. The only thing that might hit it is the cost. I think it's a little more expensive than one of these. I think it's like $14, whereas the Nano, you could get it for something like $6. The Micro is something like 10 or something like that. And obviously we saw that the Arduino Uno was 17 and this one was 21. So yeah, it's a really good choice. Of the small boards, it's one of the more expensive, probably the most expensive, but it's so tiny and it has such good program space and RAM that you can really do a lot with it. Okay. Whew. There's a stark contrast between this one and the next small board. So this is the AT Tiny 88, I think. AT Tiny 88. I'll just search that. Yeah, this is it. It's okay. So imagine if you took an Arduino Nano and then you just wanted to modify it a little bit and make it as cheap as possible. These boards are literally $2. You can get them for a similar price even on Amazon. You can get one like 4 for $8. That's what I did. The downside is the Arduino IDE doesn't have support built in for these boards. And you have to go through this whole process of like manually doing a whole bunch of, like, they basically don't work. They basically don't work. You go through a bunch of hassle to kind of make them work, but they basically don't work to upload programs to. And if you can get it working, right, I would put it in C tier, right? But if you can get it working, it still has the tiny program space, a quarter of the size of an Arduino Nano, quarter of that size. I mean, that's why it's a third the price or something like that. But it has a program space a quarter of the size, basically no RAM. The RAM is tiny, and it's really difficult to get the programs uploaded to it. So that's an F tier in my opinion. It's a bad board. Don't recommend. It's $4 more to get an Arduino Nano. I would go for that if you're looking for something cheap. I used one for the NeoPixel Saber, and I thought it was genius. A $2 Arduino board. What could go wrong? That's what went wrong. The programs were incredibly difficult to upload, and even once you did, tiny program space. I couldn't fit for the NeoPixel Saber, the finished program that I designed to get all of the different colors and color changing. Not that big of a program. Maybe like half the Arduino Nano space. Double this thing's space. Absolutely no way to cut it down. If you wanted to get a program like that running, you had to like half the number of LEDs you were controlling. And even then, because the RAM was so small, trying to fit that array into the RAM to actually do the editing of those LEDs, a disaster. An absolute disaster. Just don't do it. Unless you know for sure that you're using a tiny program and you want to go through the hassle of that upload, don't do it. F tier board all the way. The next one is an Arduino Leonardo. So this is is this the Leonardo? Yeah, it's the Leonardo. So it's kind of like an Arduino Uno, but again, it has the same USB communication chip as the Arduino Micro. So it has the one that can communicate with the computer and be like a computer mouse or a game controller, something like that. Now, because of that, I think it's a little bit more expensive. Let's search for Arduino Leonardo. Okay, it actually might be a similar price. Amazon. And then Elegoo or something like that. Okay, so it's actually a good price. This is an Elegoo. This is something slightly different, but it's a similar price. So I would actually say that's a surprise to me because it has the better USB communication chip. So honestly, it's got to be at least A tier because it's got the functions of the Uno plus the extra communication chip. So I mean that's a win. I don't think it's quite S tier because it's not on the level of like the Micro, which has small form factor plus USB chip, or the Mega, which just has a ton of ports, or the Arduino Xiao, which is tiny. I don't think it's on that level, but I think it might be a little bit better than the Uno, honestly. I don't know of any drawbacks with it. Maybe there's drawbacks. Let's make sure it's not just 3.3 volt only. Arduino Leonardo. Let's look at Arduino's page and check. Because if it is only 3.3 volts, it's definitely not going to be S tier. Okay, IO voltage is 5 volts. Yeah, so I'm tempted. I'm tempted to do S tier, but I think it deserves a solid A tier. A good, maybe the top of A tier, all the way to the left. Yeah, I think that's where it deserves. Okay, we have another subscribe button here, and yeah, this is another S tier, unless we have to move it around so that we can make all of the little lines even, which is obviously fun. I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely subscribe if you haven't yet. It's it's a way to make sure that you don't miss videos on this channel and you can keep getting your Arduino education every single day. The next board is the Arduino Do. So this is basically like the Arduino Mega. It has the same 54 ports, but it has that upgraded USB chip, but I think this is the one I was thinking of that's only 3.3 volts. I'm kind of hoping I'm wrong because it'd be kind of a nice board if it's not that. But ooh, 52. Okay, that's rough. That's rough. Let's see if we can find it from not the official Arduino, because 52. Okay, yeah, that could be another issue. If we can't find this from anyone other than Arduino, and you have to buy it for 52, it's going down. $50 from someone else. Yeah, that's rough. Okay, $42.98. Yeah, so I was gonna put this higher up. I was gonna put this A or S because it's like the Mega, but you get the extra USB communication chip, but it's not there. If you have to pay twice the price of the Mega, we were finding one for like 21, right? If you have to pay twice that price, 42 to, okay, it's on sale right now. But if you have to pay nearly twice the price just to get that extra USB chip, and I think it's only 3.3 volts, could be wrong. Let's search. I think it's only 3.3 volts, and you have to pay twice the price just to get that extra USB communication chip. That's not worth it. Hopefully, whatever your project is, you could just use a micro. Yeah, 3.3. Yeah, this is B tier. This is B tier. It's got the ports of the Mega, and it's got an extra special USB communication chip so it can emulate a keyboard or a mouse, but it's too expensive. And yeah, I am looking at this table and feeling a little bit sad because we do not have an even number of boards to make this table perfectly even and rectangular. So I don't know what we're gonna do about that. Yeah, we may have to try to dig up some other Arduino boards somewhere. If you guys know of any Arduino boards that we haven't covered aside from these two, definitely drop them in the chat so we can try to get this thing straightened out. But next we have this is the Arduino Nano RP2040 Connect. So basically, they took an Arduino Nano and they added a Raspberry Pi chip so it has better computing power, better RAM, better storage, and they added a couple of extra sensors. Now this thing costs a little bit more. More subscribe buttons. That's actually a great idea. Arduino Nano RP2040 Connect. Okay, so this one costs a little bit more, but what they have done, and I want to get my hands on one of these because it sounds really awesome. They've added an IMU, so a gyroscope and accelerometer to tell how it's moving and rotating. They've added that. They've added Bluetooth connection. They've added Wi-Fi connection. All of these built into the board, and this thing is not a whole lot. Okay, it's a bit more expensive. Let's see if we can find one on Amazon. Last time I checked, I couldn't find one on Amazon. Arduino Nano RP2040. I mean, aside from the Arduino one, but I don't think it's going to get a whole lot cheaper than that $21 price tag. Here's the seed board, by the way, $10. Yeah, so here's the one from Arduino, $31, even more expensive than their regular site. And yeah, we're not really seeing this board here. So you have to shell out $22, right? It's a lot more than the $6 regular Arduino Nano. But you do get an IMU, so you can tell acceleration and gyroscope, and you get Bluetooth connectivity and Wi-Fi connectivity. And I think for a lot of projects, like an upcoming lightsaber project, I think that could be worth it. It could be a really great option to get that rotation and movement detection along with Bluetooth connectivity to connect to an app or something like that, or Wi-Fi connectivity to have a little like web page thing. That could be really good. So I think I'm going to put it A tier because it has really cool functionality, but the price isn't quite low enough for it to be an S tier. Also 4 and 4. This is the Arduino MKR0. So Arduino MKR0. I also haven't had my hands on one of these. Another one to check out. Now, again, you'll notice it's expensive. These are kind of the modded boards with a little bit of extra functionality. Yeah, I see the suggestion that we could put dislike buttons on the lower tiers. However, picture this. You sign on, you hop onto this stream, and you see a tier list with a 4x5 grid, and there's like 1, 2, 3. There's like 9 slots taken up by dislike buttons. It would be a little weird. It would be a little weird. I like the suggestion, but it would be a little bit weird. So back to the MKR0. I think it's maybe short for maker. I actually just realized that. The maker 0. That makes sense. Tech specs. I think it only runs at 3.3 volts. It has, only 8 I/O pins. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough to justify. So I think the reason is it has this SD card reader. So you can just directly put in a micro SD card, which is, again, another thing. See, here's what I want. I want a board other than like the Profi board or something that's dedicated for lightsabers, but a board that has an SD card plus gyroscope plus Bluetooth. That's basically what a Profi board is, except it costs $100. If we have a $20 board that also has the gyroscope, and we have another basically $20 board, I think you can find one for 20, that also has the SD card reader, why can't we combine those together, right? SD card reader, Bluetooth, gyroscope, basically everything you need to make one. That's what the Profi board is, basically everything you need to make a lightsaber, right? That's what the Profi board is, but instead of costing $20, it costs $100. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But back to ranking the Arduino Maker 0. Only 8 pins, right? So if you want the SD card reader, this is probably a good deal because the SD card reader would add extra cost. This is simpler and it doesn't take up any extra space, so it's really tight build. If you want an SD card, this is a great board for you. If you don't, which is probably most cases, it's not. I think I'm gonna have to C-tier it. There's very specific use cases where you want an SD card reader, and in that case, go for it. But that's one case out of 10, out of 20, 1 out of 20 cases. So yeah, that's gonna put it a little bit lower. Plus, it's also between $20 and $30, so it's a little bit expensive. This is what we have so far. All of the so the ones that made the absolute top tier, the S tier, are the Arduino Micro, because it has that special USB communication chip, the Arduino Mega, because it's just got a crap load of pins, 54 pins, and the Arduino Xiao, which is super tiny. It has less pins. It's got like 8 or 10, but it's super tiny, has USB-C, and it has more memory and flash than these other boards. So, and of course the subscribe button. This is our tier list for the Arduino boards. If there are any other Arduino boards I'm missing, let me know. And also let me know if you disagree with any of these rankings. That's the tier list for this. Now, if we have any other questions, we can go ahead and delve into them. These can be questions about Arduino. We could even do questions about game development, boot that software up and get started with that. If we don't have any questions on either of those, we could make another tier list, but I don't have any more tier lists set up. So we can either try to find a tier list that's already on Tier Maker that has something to do with Arduino and or game development or something like that. The tiny should be S tier. You're not. Dude, I'm not putting this S tier. If someone clicked on the stream right now, saw that I put this on S tier, went and bought it, they would absolutely wreck me. I mean, they would hop into the comment section and they would be like, this man is a scam because oh my, okay. We can't, as a self-respecting Saber C++ YouTube channel, we absolutely cannot put the worst Arduino board I have ever used in the S tier. I mean, this is, I mean, that's like a nightmare. That's a nightmare thought, honestly. That's a nightmare thought. I have to be real with you. So we can try to find another Arduino tier list on here. I have no idea if they're, okay, they have an Arduino projects tier list. Let's check this out. we're going in blind here, but it looks like we have screenshots of Arduino projects in a circuit simulator, and I got a screenshot just now. No. Wait, just tell me you didn't take a screenshot while this one was up here. Tell me you took a screenshot with this one in the F tier, because imagine you look at this in 5 years and you're like, oh, I remember Saber C++. I just watched a live stream of his last night, because obviously, you'll still be watching my live streams, right? And then you buy this board because it just calls to you from all the way on the right of the S tier, and you pick it up, and that's the end. All right, back to ranking this. Oh, it's in Spanish. All right, that's cool. No. Okay, I'm gonna try to forget that, but there's no way I'm forgetting that. So we have the if I could just translate this with my expert skills, very advanced, intermediate, basic, and very basic. Okay, so it looks like this is a little bit different. This is rating the difficulty of these projects. That's actually really interesting. I don't know why I didn't think of that for adding like my own projects. That would be a good one to try, rating the difficulty of the different projects. But we have here a whole bunch of different projects. So let's rate the difficulty on each of these projects and see what happens. But since I'm probably going to put this in a YouTube video, just for a quick second here, we need to go ahead and add we need to just add another tiny little project, a very, if I can just find it, subscribe. Dude, why can I not spell subscribe? This is kind of sad. There we go. We added another tiny little project here, just for the YouTube audience, guys. I know you guys you're the top guys. You're already subscribed. This is just for the YouTube audience in the posted video. That's why we need this little guy down here. Lightsaber tier list. That sounds amazing. We got plenty of time. We'll do that right after this. I'm sure I feel like they would have one on Tier Maker already, because they have a lot of stuff. Apparently not a lot of Arduino stuff, but some stuff. So stick around for a lightsaber tier list right after this. Okay, the first one, it looks like we have an ultrasonic sensor, 3 LEDs, presumably measuring the distance, like maybe 1 is super close, 2 is a little further, 3 is very far away. That's a pretty good beginner project. Not the easiest, right? It's not like Blink, right? That would be in very basic, but it's pretty easy. I think basic. It's for a what? Okay, I mean, I'll take it. I appreciate you being here, even at 4 a.m. in the morning. I do appreciate that. It does not go unnoticed now that I've been informed. So the next thing we have is a PIR motion sensor. Just light up an LED. Side note here, you don't actually need an Arduino for this. If you just power up a PIR motion sensor, you can just connect the middle pin to the LED and it'll turn on when the PIR motion sensor is turning on. That's what all those little security devices that are hanging in the walls do. It just, when it detects motion, it lights up a tiny light. Obviously, they're connected to some system or something like that. But yeah, the middle pin on here, you can just connect it to an LED and you're good to go. No Arduino needed at all. That's good. You know, it's better, even if it's 4 a.m. and you're not going to be sleeping. I mean, what else are you going to be doing than watching a Saber C++ video, All right, this might be very basic, or I could move both of these up and have this be basic and this be intermediate. I think that's a fair way to do it, because this is super easy. You could, like the way they have it set up here, you'd have to do a tiny program. You can do it without the Arduino, but even in this way, it's a super simple setup. I think that's a basic. Okay, again, button turning on an LED. Now, you don't need the Arduino if it's a hold button, but obviously if you want like a toggle or something like that, then you would need a microcontroller for that. So that's cool. I would say, again, basic. I'm not sure. Yeah, if we have straight up Blink, I think that's very basic. Other than that, I think everything else is probably going to be basic or above. What do we have? Okay, this image is kind of cut off. Can we like Can we see this somehow? Is there a way to... I have no idea what's going on here. I mean, I see 3 resistors, maybe going to 3 different LEDs, maybe a traffic light. Let's say it's a traffic light. Just because I cannot see that at all. That's basic. That's basic. You turn on green, you turn on yellow for a short time, you turn on red for a longer time, same as green or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty basic. If it's a traffic light, yeah, I would say that's basic. Okay, this... Dude, I do not know what this is, but it looks intense. This looks very intense. We have an array of something. LEDs. RGB LEDs? That's not RGB LED. Can that be RGB LEDs? They look kind of like RGB LEDs, but there's not enough wires for that. I think it's an LED array, but there's also... Oh, and then those, yeah, it's an LED array. And then we have a couple of little ICs here to do that. I'm not sure what the potentiometer is doing. Like, do we think this is like moving around which LED is on, changing how many are on, like some kind of level thing? I don't know, but this would be complicated to wire up in real life and definitely complicated to program. I think it's very advanced, honestly. Yeah. I think that's very advanced. It looks like an array of LEDs, kind of like that little 8x8 LED matrix, but obviously a custom one. And then with the 2 ICs and the programming required for that, it would be a little bit tricky. It would be a lot bit tricky. Okay, this honestly might be another very advanced one. This is super easy to wire up, just connecting these wires, following directions or whatever. But the programming required to go through and write all the different things for all the different symbols and then have those spat out on here and then some kind of password checker, that's probably very advanced. Easy to wire up. This is hard to wire up, advanced to program. This is easy to wire up, basic to wire up, but it's probably very advanced to program. I would say that's on the higher end of Arduino projects that you would have to do. This is interesting. We have 2 circles of RGB LEDs and in the middle, a counter. And then there's some kind of sensor over here. It looks like a radio, like an antenna that you would use to communicate. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. Yeah, what is the purpose of this device? We have a couple of rings. It looks almost like a target or something where you like shoot it and then it would flash these rings and give you a number or something like that. But this is a radio antenna, so it's not that directional. It can't detect like how accurate you are. So I don't think it could be that. It could be, I don't know. Why is there a radio antenna? It kind of looks like maybe one of those random number pickers, but again, radio antenna. So yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this. If it has a radio antenna though, it's probably pretty advanced because sending those signals back and forth, you have to, there are libraries for it, obviously, but you do have to do some work with the data to make sure that you're sending short amounts of data and then interpreting that data. And if you have a radio antenna, that means there's another device out there that you're communicating with. So setting that up as well is definitely going to add to the difficulty. So that's very advanced. Car. That's a nice project. Okay, the only thing I'm a little unsure about is this looks like a custom PCB. Looks like they made this PCB for this project. And if it includes PCB design is easier than it looks at first, right? I was like, I want to learn how to design PCBs. So I started doing that. And then like a week or, maybe more than 1 week, less than 2 weeks later, I was making videos for you guys about that. So PCB design isn't that hard. I'm going to put it in advanced. If you didn't have to design the PCB, intermediate. But if you are designing a custom PCB, probably advanced is a good place to put it. Okay, here we have 2 Arduinos. This one has a button, one has a potentiometer. There's no connection between though. And neither of them have modules to communicate. Maybe they're both connected to a computer and they're communicating through that because obviously they both have wires. I don't know. It looks pretty simple though. I'm going to put it intermediate because if there is communication between 2 Arduinos, that adds some complexity, admittedly. But the input on there is very simple. So It can't be that complex of a project, I don't think. Okay, here it is. The legendary blink sketch. One LED, you turn it on and off. That's as basic as it gets. First project, Dude, is there a term for Arduinoians? Like, is there Arduinoians, Arduino heads? Like, what are they called? We need to workshop a name for that, honestly. We could also workshop a name for, like, people who are on this channel, like followers of the channel, like sabers. They could just be called sabers, saber somethings. Blink is too advanced. or were you talking about the one before that? Blink is as simple as it gets. Oh, Blink is as simple as it gets. Now over here, this is the traffic light project. So I don't know what our mystery project from earlier where it was clipping off the edges, but it's apparently not traffic light. Blink is too advanced. All right, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and put it in very advanced. That seems. My question would be, if it's not in very basic, what is the most basic thing? I mean, okay, looking at these options, there is one that is very basic. And that is the YouTube subscribe button, which if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you should definitely do that so you don't miss out on future videos. But aside from this blink, it doesn't get much more basic than that. Okay, you threw me for a loop there. I'm not gonna lie. You threw me for a loop a little bit. But it gave me, and I'm gonna cut this out of the published video so I can say this. It gave me a really good segue into placing the subscribe button, so I appreciate that. Yeah, that's gonna look great in the finished video. Traffic light should be basic, right? We still have our mystery project here. Buying the things though, yeah, that's true. Technically, for any of these projects, unless these things magically appear at your house, which if they do, you gotta let me know how that happens because I want the same thing. But if they don't, then yeah, you still have to buy all of these things. I think we're assuming for this that your very wonderful parents have given you these electronic components to work with. And you have a YouTube tutorial to follow. Maybe by yours truly. Maybe not. Because let's be real, I don't really have tutorials for most of these things. I do not live in Amazon. Many have theorized that I live in Amazon. However, I went to buy an office space there, but there were just too many trees, and I tried to get a houseboat on the river there. I heard it was quite nice, but the houseboat was just a little bit too wide. It got stuck, so I couldn't keep sailing down the river. We did have a sail on the houseboat. It was a mega sail. It was very large. It also got caught in the trees. So that's basically the story of why I don't live in the Amazon. I tried my best. It didn't work out. Next, we have the... Dude, what is this? Measuring? Oh, I think it's measuring. Look at that. 0, 1, 2. Temperature. This here seems to say temperature level example. I wish you could like somehow blow up these images a little bigger, but it seems to have just destroyed them. Huh. It looks kind of complicated, but not too complicated. So we're just going to make a random gut call here and slap it in advanced. Partially because we're now at the segment of the video where we want to be trying to even out these rows because it is more satisfying, but also because, yeah, we don't really know what's going on with some of these projects. We came in blind, guys. There's only so much we can do. Next, we have an Arduino Uno with one of these LCD displays. And it says, it looks like just random text. It says, one write about text adventures. Maybe it's like writing ideas or something like that. There's 2 buttons. This actually could be a game. If this is just like displaying some text, intermediate probably. Little bit of wiring and stuff. But if this is making a game on there, that's very advanced. Because when you're making a game on there, it's much harder than just making a game on your computer because you have to take all kinds of things into account. Which you don't have to do. So intermediate if it's just text. If it's a full game, very advanced. So we'll split the difference. We'll slap it in advanced. And yeah, that's the only reason I'm putting it in advanced. I have no ulterior motive, I just think that's a fair place to put it. Here we have an LED. This is not even, there's no wires here. It's just like a kind of heart, I guess, made out of LEDs, which is cool. If there's no wires here, then it's basic, no? Like, if it's not actually doing anything, we may be supposed to assume that something is making all of this text and LEDs happen. Maybe I'm overthinking the fact that there are no wires. But I think since we're just going by the literal picture, I think we are allowed to put this in basic. Once again, I have no ulterior motive here. I just think it's the fairest place to put it. PIR motion sensor plus light plus sound, pretty obvious. When it detects something, it's going to make a blaring alarm sound, and it's going to flash the LED. That's pretty basic. Could be Here's the thing. No, honestly, honestly, if you are playing sound, then it becomes intermediate. If you're just doing a beeping, it's basic. But if you're playing an actual sound on here, then it's going to be intermediate. Yeah, so I think intermediate is a fair place to put that. Ooh, something showing the date, and very, very strongly, because we're showing it 3 times in a row. I would say pretty easy. The thing is, it doesn't show the full project here, but we probably also have to connect a clock module to keep the time so that we don't mess up the date, because if you just use the Arduino's built-in clock, then a power flicker or something, either for your whole power line goes out for just a second, or just the Arduino has a glitch or something, shuts down for a second, you accidentally press the reset button, the whole thing's ruined. So you need a clock module to actually do that, which might put it in the advanced, hypothetically. Or it might put it intermediate. Let's put it intermediate. You need a clock module, but the display here is fairly similar. Dude, actually, they're wiring a ton of these together. Okay, I see. So normally just one of these modules just has a bunch of pins, and you just turn the LEDs on or off using each one of those pins. But here they have those already connected to boards with a little bit of circuitry, so you're communicating with them over I2C, which makes it much easier, because instead of dealing with, I don't know, this is like 100 LEDs. Instead of dealing with that, you're communicating with the little chips on the backs of each of these, and that makes it much easier. So yeah, that's probably intermediate. Okay, whoa, this is intense, guys. This is intense. Ultrasonic sensor plus servo plus a motor plus, what is that, like a gas sensor here? I'm not sure what that is. Plus speaker, that's just for the servo, plus a PIR motion sensor there, if I didn't already say that. Another motor, 3 lights, a couple other ICs out here doing something. I'm not sure what. That was a terrible voice crack. And then, what is this here? Is this an oven? I don't know what this is. Maybe it could be a car. Actually, I think it's a car. Like, picture this. Wheel 1, wheel 2 in the back. So we have 2 wheels in the back. The servo motor is like either something on top to, yeah, the servo motor is connected to this. So we can go back and forth. The ultrasonic sensor is on the servo, so it goes back and forth like this to see the distance between it and walls nearby. And then 2 motors for the wheels, so we can turn, drive around. I don't know what this other stuff is doing. We got some lights. Maybe it's a cop car, so we got some flashing lights. I don't know. Speaker here, obviously lots of sounds you could play. And then I guess a couple other sensors just for funsies. That's pretty complicated. It might be very advanced. I think it's very advanced. Just networking all of those together would be a challenge. It would be a challenge. None of them on their own are very difficult. It's not like the LCD display and stuff are more difficult on their own. But I think on the whole, setting up this whole project would be pretty difficult. And especially if you had to figure out the ultrasonic sensor moving back and forth and assessing distances and then using that to drive, that's very advanced. So yeah, kudos to whoever actually made that project, because that's a pretty tough one to figure out. And if they have a banger tutorial on it, that's an S tier YouTuber. And if they don't, then I should do that. This one right here, we have 2 LED strips, right? Looking like a lightsaber. A little 3x3 LEDs also here, and then a dial. and then also a display. Looks advanced to me. Again, no ulterior motives, completely innocent here, it just looks like advanced. See, it's not as hard as building this custom circuitry. It looks as hard as this one. It's kind of as hard as, it's probably harder than this one. Because you have the LEDs are pretty easy to use, but it's probably the same difficulty level as this one. I might pull this one down, but I think these two are the same difficulty level. But we have a backup card. We have a get out of jail free right here because this one, we have no idea what it is. So we can put it in any tier we want. So we're putting it in the very difficult tier because, I mean, look at that. Does that not look difficult? Does that not look difficult? That looks super hard. So we're going to put that in the very advanced tier, which leaves us with just one left. And this is a potentiometer and a servo, so you basically just make sure that the potentiometer, the servo is lined up with the potentiometer. And I think, in a very unbiased and valid judgment, that this is what we would call a very basic project. Because, yeah, anyway, I think that's what we would call a very basic project. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but somehow we seem to have luckily come across a situation where all 5 of the rows are even and perfect. And yes, these 5 rows, just through no effort at all on our part, have just magically come out in this beautiful 4x5 grid. And the tier list we made just before this also, well, there's this tier list too, but we don't like that. That's the middle child. We forget about him. The first child, our firstborn, looks absolutely amazing with the programming languages. We also have this one with all of our Arduino projects. Both of them look absolutely beautiful. Where would I put my lightsaber project? That's a good question. That's a good question. And I'm actually going to give this a valid answer because all of these are even. So I can actually give a valid answer without being tempted by that. I would put it, So my lightsaber project, you connect, yeah, we forget about that one. It's normal. It's perfectly normal. Yeah, that's honestly, that's why we put a middle child in here. So we'd have a little guy we could just, yeah, that's why we put him in the middle there. So here, the lightsaber project, right? So you have to use an Arduino Nano because we are not using the A2Tiny88 because we're just going to pretend that never happened, that I never said anything about that board. Use an Arduino Nano, you connect up some LEDs and you do that. Okay, so the electronics for it, these are just electronics. So that's the thing. The electronics for it are probably either intermediate or advanced. Now, here's the thing. Programming is a fair part of that, right? So since I have the full walkthrough for the programming and the downloadable code, I would say it gets a little bit easier. But if you were figuring it out for yourself for the first time, it would definitely be advanced. And if you count the work to make the lightsaber hilt and the blade and whatnot, it would go up to very advanced. So I would say when I made the first one, that was very advanced. But with the resources available on the channel, you should be able to make it more at an intermediate or advanced level. So yeah, I don't know where exactly I would put that. Maybe we can make another tier list with Saber C++ projects exclusively. I think we have, I don't know how many we have. We probably don't have enough for a full tier list yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Lightsaber tier list now. That is correct. Lightsaber tier list. Let's see if they already have one, which hopefully they do, because, okay, ranking duelists. You're talking about like lightsaber hilts, right? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Hopefully I'm correct. This is, I think, what we want. The ultimate lightsaber tier. Oh yeah. Okay. So hopefully, hang on a second. Well, all right, you should be able to hear me now. You should be. For some reason, I had to subtly reach over and plug in my power cord because my computer is getting a little low. For some reason, yeah, I think I must have wrecked the mic there. But anyway, it's back on now. So, yeah, this is our lightsaber tier list. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through all of these lightsabers and ranking every single one of them on this tier list right here. So we have the Jedi Master tier list, Jedi Knight, Padawan, Youngling, and down at the bottom we have Exile and Order 66. First up, of course, we have Luke's lightsaber. This is... See, the thing is, Obi-Wan's lightsaber came first, so I'm a little bit partial to Obi-Wan, as I think most Star Wars fans probably are. There's not much you can say against the man. I think this is a B, right? Honestly, I would maybe even put it at a C, right? The S tier, you can't S. See, here's the thing. Obi-Wan's lightsaber, right here, came first, right? And this is just, it's like, let's compare, right? This section here is the same, right? And this section here is pretty similar, but here we have this like the grenade shell, and then this, and then, all right, fine. I'll put it 8 here. It's against my better judgment, but I'll be swayed. Put it 8 here. Somehow Obi-Wan's lightsaber just ended up in S, and I think that's fair as well. Yeah, it's an S tier. Good. Everyone's in agreement there. The only reason I'm putting this there is because I just don't think it's quite as good, and I think it should be at least a little bit lower. Ahsoka's. Now, we got some interesting... These are interesting. This is her... Wait, I don't want to screw up the order. 1, 2, 3. This is her third scent, right? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the order here is. Anyway, these are the curved ones, which they're nice. They're actually quite unique. I like it. And you can't discount the fact that there's 2 of them. So I think this is A tier. I think it's A tier. We got to reserve. Obviously, they're all lightsabers. They're all cool. I don't know if we're gonna find any to put in the Order 66 rank, but these are a solid pair. They're a solid pair. Her other pair, though, I don't love it. I'm not gonna lie. It just has like this weird, like it goes all the way down with this slot here. Like it doesn't even showcase the blade in there. See, when you have like a hole and the blade shines through it, I'm trying to find an example. I don't know. But when you have one of those, like a hole and the blade shines through it, like the Darksaber, right? That's what they're going for here. Or these little windows here. It looks epic, but these, like, you don't get any blade shining through. It's just, you're just looking at the inner hilt. Like, what is, I don't get the design. Honestly, if there were a bad lightsaber, I would say it's probably this. I'm gonna have to put it in D. It's a tough choice, guys, but sometimes you gotta make those tough choices. Kylo Ren's. Now this lightsaber is immaculate. I mean, 3 blades. Like, he saw Darth Maul and he was like, I'm gonna one up that. You know what? I'm gonna one up that. I think it's S tier. Say what you will about the sequels. The first trailer with Kylo Ren in it. Whew, he looked amazing. And a big part of that is this absolutely crazy crackling red 3-bladed lightsaber. It was absolutely crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, all right. Darth Vader's lightsaber. It's a classic. I'll give you this. It might have to be S tier. I don't want to put too many in S tier. That's the thing. But it does have that vibe. I don't know. It looks really nice. I'm conflicted between A or S. S, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's Vader. The man shows up and he just goes through. He's insane. He has the hallway scene. There's other hallway scenes. He has the hallway scene. Whew. Okay. All right. Maybe I was wrong when I said no lightsabers were bad, because this just looks mid. I mean, does it not? It's a gray stick with a little bit of a gold there. Like, what? I'm actually kind of blanking on whose this is. So I was gonna try to just pass it off, you know, carry on with. Oh my goodness! I hope we didn't just lose the tier list. Okay, that was weird. I was gonna try to just pass it off and keep talking until I could come up with who it's from, but I cannot. It's just so boring. I can't figure out whose lightsaber this is. It's just a tube. You know, I'm gonna put it in F. See, this is the thing. When you're impartial, because you can't remember who this is from, you have a little bit more leeway because you're not influenced by the character, and you know your worries about that. We lost our good mode. Okay. Start getting ads everywhere. I'm gonna put it in F. I really want to know who it's from though. Can we find this? I don't know. I can't copy the image, so we're stuck. I can't Google search it. But it's a lame lightsaber. I hope it wasn't some great Jedi that I'm completely blanking on that had this lightsaber, but it looks mid. Yeah, you're right. I don't love it. I don't love D tier either. Honestly, if we get many more Ds, then I will relegate this one down to the F tier. But for now, yeah, I mean, I don't like them when they're just sticks. Like, why? Okay, this next lightsaber, though. It looks great. Like, again, not a sequel lover at all. But this design is actually sick. The two blades side by side, and then it folded out to be a double bladed, and you just have that fold back and forth. Like, unbelievable. Absolutely beautiful. I think it's S tier, honestly. Like, the creative lightsabers, like, a lightsaber is amazing. But when you can create an alteration on that, it's amazing. And it's double amazing. I think we have to put it S tier. It just looks so good. Okay, Darksaber. Dude, see, here's the thing, we're just filling up the S tier too much, because like it has this whole character, right? The Darksaber has the whole character. That's okay. You can, yeah. Hopefully we'll see you in a couple, but the Darksaber, it just has so much character, right? Here's the thing, my only concern is we're filling up the S tier a lot. And if we're gonna balance this, make it a perfectly balanced chart, just like the Force is perfectly balanced. If we're gonna balance it, we're gonna have to do something. I don't know what. I'll leave it S tier for now. One of these is gonna have to get cut, especially the next lightsaber is Count Dooku's lightsaber, which is literally another. Look, Count Dooku, insanely underrated. Insanely underrated. This man has one of the best character arcs in all of Star Wars, which means Star Wars is up here, everything else is down here. That means this man has one of the best character arcs in all of fiction. And yes, that does infect my choice for his lightsaber hilt a little bit, a tiny bit. But this lightsaber is, I mean, the character reason behind this is it's angled. So, like, picture this. Someone's holding the lightsaber like this, and then blade goes out like that. It's really hard to figure out how your opponent is going to, how that blade is going to come into contact with you, especially when they're spinning it and whatnot, because it just moves different. If you can master this lightsaber, it's going to be really hard to go up against. All right, so yeah, Dooku's lightsaber, S tier all day. I'm not moving that down. That's a hill I will die on. Okay, this one. All right, this is another. Oh wait, this is Ezra's / Sabine's. No, this is Ezra's new one. Yeah, this is Ezra's. See, it looks weird. It's tripping me up because it looks weird. This is like a weird, like, cartoon rendering of it. I don't know, but I think it's supposed to be Ezra second lightsaber. Okay, so it's this one, the one that got modified by Sabine. Yeah, it just looks, no, not that. Wait, and then wait, I'm so confused. This, because it's showing this lightsaber. Look, all right, the point is, yeah, it's the one that Ezra had, and then Sabine made some modifications on. And let's be honest, it looks kind of mid. All right? It's not a stick, right? It's not going in F, right? Because it's not a stick saber. But it's not great, right? I like Rebels. Ahsoka, I have some different thoughts on that. I'm not going to rant right now. I'm going to keep all of the rants in. I already went on a little mini fanboy about Count Dooku, so I don't want to go too far off the rails here. I'm going to put it in Youngling. It's not like terrible, right? It does have some character, especially the little red thingy there. And then some other components that have some similar elements to the OG. Honestly, actually, I like it a little bit more now that I look at it a little bit more. Because it has these lines under here, the metal here. It has some character. I'm going to put it in Padawan. Right? I don't love it. It's not like a really nice lightsaber. But I think, yeah, it's a fair Padawan. This next one, okay, let's talk about the Ezra lightsaber, right? Let's talk about it. It has so much potential. But you can't lightsaber and shoot at the same time. And the shooting was kind of mid, right? I mean, that might just be because, it's a children's show or whatever, but the shooting was kind of mid. You can't lightsaber and shoot at the same time. And it looks like a staple gun. Awesome. We have the full audience back. That's amazing. It looks a little bit like a staple gun. Just for reference, we put Count Dooku's lightsaber in S tier, obviously, because it's the best of the best. We put Ezra's lightsaber that he gave to Sabine in B tier after some conflicted talking. Now we're ranking Ezra's first lightsaber, and the issue is, like I was saying, it's kind of lightsaber and gun, but neither one is that great. The lightsaber looks like a staple gun, and the gun can't even shoot at the same time as the lightsaber. So I don't love it. I think I'm gonna exile it. I don't know. I just don't like the shape of it. It just looks so. I feel like if there were a design that was blaster pistol and lightsaber in one, and it was like elegant and cool, maybe like Dooku's. But obviously, much like with the gun aspect, it would be awesome. But that's not it. Okay, what did we? Anakin and Vader's. Okay, I got it correct. That is Vader's. And this one's Anakin's. Okay. So we have tough choice here. Do we put another one in S tier? Another one that's very similar, or do we put one down in A tier? Or do we relegate it completely down to B tier? Because Vader's lightsaber has Vader going for it, and it has the originality of the prequels, of the original trilogy going for it. Anakin's lightsaber doesn't have that as much. I think I'm gonna B tier it, right? Because the design isn't all it's cracked up to be. So we're critiquing the design here, and we're supporting the originality and the Vader, Anakin Skywalker storyline up here. Inquisitor lightsaber. Now here it's a mixed bag. Hilt looks great, honestly. It's a really unique design. But the spinning is helicopter blade above head should not have been done. It should never have been done. It should never, ever, 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 ever have been done. It just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, because of that, I'm going to order 60. Man, I thought you were going to let me get away with the order 66 can't. But still, right? The hilt design is actually really good. I like that. But the helicopter thing just absolutely ruins it. And then they had the nerve in Jedi Survivor, right? This isn't a spoiler. Someone does that. Someone just does a little tiny whirl, and it just gave me PTSD for the thing. Now go for... Okay, I'm order 66. Look, guys, I'm bound by chat. You guys are making me order 66 it. This is not my choice, obviously. But yeah, it sucks. The helicopter thing sucks. I hate it. Kanan's lightsaber actually looks really cool. It's one of the ones, with the little handle guard, which aside from Kylo Ren's, which obviously has a super dramatic one, and one that would actually do something against another lightsaber, but the little handle guard thing it's really stylish. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorites. Honestly, I'm not gonna S tier it. I like it a lot, and part of that's because Kanan is goated, but I'm gonna A tier it out of respect for, the overall audience. You guys can pull it down a little bit. But yeah, it's a really nice lightsaber with the style of the little emitter top, which is very unique. And then the little guard there it's quite cool. I like it a lot. Okay. Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber. This is... Wait, am I tripping? Oh, sorry, this is Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber. This is Obi-Wan's first lightsaber. Again, very similar. Obi-Wan's first lightsaber. It's interesting. Really? S tier? I mean, I don't know. It seems, I don't like it as much as this one, right? I definitely feel like it was an upgrade for him to go to this. But it does actually it has a lot of character, right? The button and the rings and stuff. I could almost S tier it. It is Obi-Wan. I know. The Obi-Wan card is a very powerful card, and it usually does. All right, it's gonna work. The Obi-Wan card worked on me. Congratulations. Played the Obi-Wan card. It worked. Qui-Gon Jinn is also awesome, but there's no Qui-Gon Jinn card. I'm calling it now. There's no Qui-Gon Jinn card. I'm just cutting it. Qui-Gon Jinn is great. I love Qui-Gon Jinn, but there's no Qui-Gon Jinn card. I'm banning that. So, with that in mind, how do we rank this lightsaber? Let's face it, it's very similar, but it's not as exciting. And it's not Obi-Wan. So, I'm thinking a B. I'm thinking a B. Yeah, I know, you just wanted to use the Obi-Wan card just to find out if it would work on me, and guess what? It did. I hope you're happy. You used the Obi-Wan card and it worked. It works on most people. All right, so it's not like it's just me that the Obi-Wan card works on, right? It's everyone. Okay, so I don't have to feel bad about this, that I just got Obi-Wan carded. But since there's no Qui-Gon Jinn card, I could put it A2. It's decent. It's more than decent. B and C are the decent tiers. So I could put it B. Okay, this one. Interesting. At first glance, it looks quite bland, but there is actually a lot of ribbing, and it has this expanded thing. Kind of reminds me of Kanan's little guard, but obviously it's big. I feel like I'm gonna get absolutely wrecked for the fact that I'm not remembering another lightsaber. And yeah, that's a little sad. Yeah, I'm gonna get wrecked. But the thing is, no, you did not use the Qui-Gon Jinn card. There's no Qui-Gon Jinn card. All right. There is only one Star Wars character who has a card. Maybe two if you count Vader. Qui-Gon Jinn does not have a card. There is no Qui-Gon Jinn card. I did not get Qui-Gon Jinn carded. There's no Qui-Gon Jinn card. There's only an Obi-Wan card, possibly a Vader card, something like that. No. Okay. This lightsaber, it's decent. I kind of like it. But it's not great. And it doesn't have a character to back it up, so I'm thinking B or C. And I know it's my fault that it doesn't have a character to back it up, because I can't remember. Vader, Anakin. Yeah, the Vader Anakin card. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. That there is a card there. I think B. We might honestly have to remove C here, because it's not getting anything. I feel like most things are kind of B, basic, Padawan, or they're Anyway, Palpatine's, right? This has a lot going on. I like it. Yeah, it's because it's got the ribbing here. Let's get a full picture. Palpatine's saber. Oh my goodness. Wait, I think I just went off the rails, guys. I'm wrong about this, aren't I? This is tough. Wait, unless there's multiple Palpatine lightsabers, so maybe I wasn't wrong. No, I was. Okay, look, someone needs to create a chart for me to all Star Wars character lightsabers. There'd better be an image for this so I can save something. Okay, these are the easy ones. Also, why is Yoda's yellow? Anyway, we have Caddy Mundi. That's not what the other one was, is it? Oh wait, no, is that this? Wait, Mace Windu had that in the Phantom Menace? You're nuts. Wait, is that this? I think that's what this is supposed to be. It's just a terrible replication. Because it has these lines up top. I don't I don't feel bad if that's what it's supposed to be, because it doesn't look like that. And also, dude, what is with the colors on the lightsabers here? Anyway, I think, I don't see the one we're struggling with right now. Oh, Adigalia, of course. I say of course, but I would never in a million years have remembered that. Hers is the one that got binned. Sorry, Adigalia. I don't see the one that we're on right now. Like, what is this? I thought it was Palpatine's, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Anyway, dude, it's actually like more people are joining the stream, and if you're looking for the original advertised thumbnail, which was ranking every programming language, we did that earlier in the stream, so hopefully you enjoy that. As you can see, it ended up beautifully. Actually, I probably shouldn't spoil that in case you want to go back and watch it. It ended up beautifully, I will tell you that. We also ranked Arduino projects, and we ranked, we don't like it, but we did rank the Arduino boards, and if you go back and watch, you'll see why there was some controversy there. Right now, we're ranking lightsabers. This lightsaber looks cool, but with no character to back it up, it can only rise to A tier, I would say. It can only rise to A tier, alright? Darth Maul's... It's awesome, right? It's awesome. But can we really justify another S tier? That's the question on the table. If we S tier Darth Maul's, can we really live with that long term? That's the question on the table here, right? Yes, it has 2 blades, but A tier is very nice, right? It's very respectable. No one can really complain if we give it A tier, can they? I don't think so. I think that's valid. Oh, this is okay, so I don't know what this is. Maybe it's, I don't know, Caddy Moody's even PL, some even more obscure character like Ariel Poof. Exactly, we can't flood S. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. We can't flood S. We're gonna have to leave it A tier. This is what's supposed to be Mace Windu's Phantom Menace lightsaber, which was We could have our first C tier. Could be B tier. Honestly, if we put this one in B tier, we probably got to put this one in B tier as well. I don't know why it looks so, Darth Maul. I don't know. It really looks a lot like Darth Maul's. And also, I don't even know how much screen time did this really have. So obviously, Samuel L. Jackson got to switch to a purple lightsaber, and it actually looks epic. It's over here. But yeah, I don't know what's up with that. This, dude, why does this just look like that again? Like, is this like a thing now? It's shiny. I'll give it that. It's super shiny like the other super shiny ones. It's not like dull, which this one looks dull, and I don't know why that is. It looks lame. This one's also kind of mid. It's another stick. It's another shiny stick, right? Look, you've already got the glow stick. You don't need another stick. You want it to be as unstick-like as possible. Except for the staple gun. We don't want it to be staple gun. Other than that, unstick-like is the way to go. Okay, this one does look nice. I'll admit that, yeah, this is total tube. This one does look pretty nice. I like it. Is it A tier? It could be A tier. I don't know. I feel a little bit bad A tier because we did put some really nice ones like Kanan's, Luke's, Ahsoka's. So we might have to relegate, not to C tier. We might have to relegate it to B tier just because it's just not quite as good as some of these. I kind of want to A tier it, but I kind of feel like we ought to respect the other ones. Okay, guys, I'm really, I hope you appreciate how much I'm not ranting here. Because worse than the hilt out of my video. I don't know if we can say that, guys. I don't know if we can say that. My video's hilt was not, let's face it, if my video's hilt were on here, it would probably be Order 66. But I am noticing not one, but 2 things missing from this hilt list. 2 things. One is a little hilt that I personally like a very lot. Fallen Order hilt. Oh, the tube. Let me check on the tube. Tube. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It might be on par with that. Yeah, you might be right. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. This lightsaber looks absolutely, I don't know about you guys, but I love this lightsaber. It looks so good. It looks so good. Save an image to downloads. Again, it's partly because of Cal Kestis. I won't lie. I won't lie. But it looks great. It looks great. And I'm gonna slap it on the tier list. And while I'm at it, I might slap another one in there. Not that anyone will notice, but you know, just another. Yeah. The point of the video was the price. I didn't want to spend a whole lot on some fancy metal hilt when the whole point of the video was the price. And yeah, I wanted to keep the price down. Let's take a look at what we have here. We have Ray's lightsaber. Let's try to disassociate it from Ray, to separate those two. It just looks so scavenger. It has some cool features. I'll give it that. And I might youngling it. The hilt is actually pretty decent, but I have a hard time separating it from the character, right? We're all trying here. We're trying very hard to separate it from the character, right? But it's hard, right? It's hard. It's a tough one. I think C tier, maybe B tier. If we can really truly separate it from the character, we might be able to squeeze it into the B tier. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I will give them that. The designers fit her perfectly. And so, if she had a better character arc, a better story, it could have been a banger lightsaber. Because it fits her well. I don't know if it could ever have been S tier. But it did suit her really well, and I like that. Okay, dude, why are there 3 variations on this hilt? There's this one. There's what if we made it even more stick? And there's what if we made it even more dull? Like, can is this really the best they could come up with? Like, what is going on here? This is just another F tier, honestly. Like, I don't know what the design here is. Whose is this? Alright, I think some of these, yeah, 2 with more texture. No, it almost deserves to be D tier, honestly. It almost deserves to be D tier. It's the best out of 3. But okay, so what is this hilt? Also, why is there another Vader? Am I confused here? Because we already had Vader and Anakin. This is, wait. Oh, wait, is this episode 3 Revenge of the Sith Vader and this one is later Vader, or is it episode 4 Vader and then later Vader? Dude, I don't know. These mind games are confusing. I'm gonna S tier both of these. Should we S tier both, or should we? Yeah, let's do this. Let's line them up. S tier, A tier, B tier. I think that's kind of nice, right? The 3 Anakins, S tier, yeah, the Anakin into Vader, and then full Vader. I think that's probably fair. We still have this one. I think this is just a fan saber, like just a saber that's designed just for fun. I don't think it's a character saber. It looks cool though, and it looks like it has that same thing like the Dark Ray saber, which we did successfully separate that from Ray's character, so I think that's good. But it has that same hinge joint, which is really cool. I don't like the design as much. This one has a lot more character, especially with the I don't know how they melt it, they heat it up so it looks like that. It looks cool. But yeah, it doesn't look as nice, but it does have the nice bending and double bladed feature, so I'm going to put it at B tier. Just because of that. Okay, Ventress is right. Interesting. I like the curved design. The curved design is really cool, but I don't know what is up with the tiger stripes thing. That just looks kind of weird. Interesting. Where should we put this? A or B? Maybe B. I don't know. I like the curved design, right? I've said that like 6 times, sorry. But I don't love anything else about this design, if I'm being honest. It just doesn't execute the curved design nearly as elegantly as that. C? You think C? I could see that. Our first C tier. Our first C tier, yeah. I don't love anything else about this design other than that it's curved, which is kind of carrying it right now. And you know what isn't C tier? This subscribe button right here, which, look, I know we're not trying to flood the S tier, but some things just gotta be the way they gotta be, honestly. We have to put that there. We have to put that there. And we may have an S tier. Dude, why did we end up with so many S tiers? All right. Is there a universe in which we don't put Mace Windu's lightsaber S tier? Fine. I think we have to. I have to S tier it. It does look really good, and you have to keep in mind that it's purple, which is kind of awesome. Not as cool as red, obviously, but there's so many red lightsabers. A purple one does stand out. Yeah, I know, they're all awesome. Even the Order 66 F tier, it's still so many steps ahead of any of our crude weapons that we have in our uncivilized age. But yeah, maybe one day we'll become civilized enough for these weapons that chop people's arms off. Maybe. Yoda's. All right. It does look awesome, but I think that might be just because it's Yoda's, right? Other than the fact that it's Yoda's, it's kind of mid. It's kind of mid, right? It's got yeah, rather than none than the helicopter one. Valid take. That's based. So this it's Yoda's, right? Which is kind of carrying it right now. But I think the design of the lightsaber is honestly kind of B tier. It's kind of simple, which I get. It's tiny. It's hard to put stuff in there, but yeah, I think it's got to go B tier. Honestly, it's not super great. And we happen to be ending on what's probably my favorite saber of all time, Cal Kestis' lightsaber. And just look at the emitter. It's going crazy. Like, what are they, like, how do they even come up? And the chopped off end, it has so much character. None of these other lightsabers have that kind of character. It's a banger lightsaber. It's amazing. Now we didn't, the shape is terrible, honestly. But like with so many and so many options, like I don't think we're balancing this. I know you want Yoda's to be S. Fine. Let's just stack up the S tier. Let's just fill it up. All right, fine. I took Luke's out of S tier earlier, so I will give Yoda's S tier. But yeah, our shape is not very nice. It's kind of sad, honestly. But that's you got to do what you got to do. I don't think we can really improve this that much. So yeah, we have two regular tier lists that look kind of like this and kind of like this, and we have two. Look, I think 2 for 4. Honestly, getting 2 for 4 in this beautiful shape like this is actually a win. It's an absolute win. So let's not discount that. These two tier lists are absolutely amazing. This one's pretty good. This one's kind of mid. But we did some good tier listing today. We did some good tier listing work today. Hopefully we'll do more. Maybe at some point in the future we'll do more tier listing. If you guys want more tier listing, let me know, and maybe we'll find some more stuff to tier list. Yeah, thanks for hanging out tonight. If we have any more questions, I'll cover them, but I suspect any questions would have been brought up by this point. So a tier list. Ooh, a tier list. Dude, in the whole history of YouTube, with how many hundreds, if not thousands of YouTube videos, no one has ever created a tier list video. Guys, we might actually be onto something crazy here. Anyway, I said that quietly, so hopefully Google doesn't pick up on it and snatch it and give it to another creator. But we might actually have to do that. If you have a question, fire away. Absolutely. Yeah, well, maybe we'll do the tier list. That sounds kind of fun. And kind of interesting. But yeah, if you have a question, fire away. In the meantime, I'll go through these, so if anyone wants to screenshot them, you can, because I guess there's might be a way to save it. I don't know. I'll probably screenshot them after the stream, but here they all are. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, ask them quick, because after we finish going through these, I will close down the stream. if we don't have any questions. Okay, yeah, so those are the 4 tier lists we created tonight. 2 of them look absolutely stunning. 2 of them look pretty decent. We've done some really good tier listing work. And yeah, we had thank you guys for showing up. Thank you especially to Orange Bed Wars, because you were commenting the whole time. It was a complete conversation, super engaged and fun. And if I want to build a NeoPixel lightsaber, which Arduino board should I use so I can upgrade them to have sound after you create a video about that? That's a great question. That's basically the question I'm trying to figure out right now before I make that video. I'm glad it was fun. It was fun for me too, honestly. It was a great time. We'll be back next week at 9 p.m. in terms of an Arduino board for a lightsaber. Obviously, we can immediately rule out the Megas of the world, the Arduino Do, the Arduino Leonardo, even the Uno. They're just too big. In terms of a different Arduino board, that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out right now. Right, that's one of the main issues for creating the lightsaber with sound, NeoPixel lightsaber with sound, is which board should I use? So is time going backward for you? Because 3 a.m. last time I checked, 3 a.m. was before. I guess maybe that's a correction. If time is going backward for you, though, that's kind of sick. In a good way. For now, I would use, for the last lightsaber, I used a nano. Well, technically, I used something else, but we're not going to talk about that. I started at 3 a.m. Yeah, well, I appreciate you bringing all of this engagement, even though it's 3 a.m. Because, dude, if it were 3 a.m. for me, I would not. I don't think I would make it through this stream. I don't know. Yeah, I've probably been up at 3 a.m. like a total of, I don't know, probably less than 10 times in my life. So I don't do that as a habit. The time, no, do not use the time. Okay, we can rule out the time. Just go away. You should be. Keep that fear. See, fear is healthy. Fear makes you powerful. Fear of things like this keeps you alive. Stay alive. Stay afraid. But seriously, I would choose maybe the Nano if you're, for now, to do the one with lights. Hopefully, like later on for the next build, I will probably use either like the Zero or the RP2040 Connect, because both of those have some features already built in. So like if I use the RP2040 Connect, I already have the gyro built in and everything. So then I would only have to have an SD card and speaker. If I use the Zero, then I would already have the SD card, so I would only have to use the gyro and speaker. And right now I'm leaning towards the RP2040 Connect, because it already has the gyro built in and Bluetooth. So if I could develop some kind of an app or web server type thing, because it has Wi-Fi as well, then both of those would be absolutely awesome for changing the color on the lightsaber and would take it to a whole nother level. That's kind of my, that would be my top priority. If I can find another board that has those features, especially if I can find another board that has those features and an SD card or some kind of a speaker driver, then I might change it. Right now, I will say I'm leaning towards the Arduino Nano RP2040 Connect, which is this one right here. I'm also curious. I'm curious about. Yeah. The Nano is a safe bet. It's a safe bet. It doesn't have any fancy stuff built in, but it's a safe bet and it's super easy to use. It's definitely a good one to start with. I'm curious what the I'm curious what the pricing is here, because like what is the difference? I clicked on the America one because I'm in the US. But what is like store.arduino? What happens if you click the Europe one? Oh, it just doesn't bounce. All right. I thought there were, look guys, I thought there was some kind of scheme. Okay, I thought there was a scheme where they were going to sell it for more in the US or sell it for more in Europe, but it's actually just currency conversion. So that's kind of sad. I was hoping to uncover a master plot by Arduino. I didn't do that. But other than that, Other than not uncovering a secret master plot, the stream was a huge success. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you, Orange Bed Wars, for commenting so much. It really made my day. It did, and I appreciate it. That's it for tonight. I'll see everyone next week. We stream every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, no, that makes sense. The fact that they have pounds in Europe and dollars in the US makes sense. All right, that's fine. I just thought it was going to be some big, reveal. Conspiracy theories, it was a conspiracy theory, and it didn't pan out, unfortunately. But that's all for tonight. So thank you everyone who showed up. Next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time.